Well, that's just prime.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to That's Just Prime, a Beast Wars podcast. I am Ian, ArrowFyre, and I'm joined today by my co-host, my good friend, Chris, Carnage Creations. How are you doing, Chris?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. I've sort of come good now. I'm not sick like last recording. Otherwise, yeah, I'm doing all right. The weather's starting to get better here in Melbourne, so it's starting to be a little bit nicer to be around. And what about yourself, mate?
The weather is absolutely rubbish here now. Summer is definitely on the way out, and as you can see, I'm in a big hoodie now. So it's the t-shirts and shorts are being traded in for jeans and hoodies. It's what can you say?
Yeah, it's not quite like that yet. It's warm during the day at the moment, cold at night still. It hasn't quite flicked over yet.
Crimea River. But okay, well, today we're doing episode 18 of the podcast, reviewing the episode Double Dinobot from season 1, which some people have said is not their favorite episode. And then watching it back, I can understand why. I watched it first time round and I thought, do you know what? It's a bit of fun. Watching it back now for the episode review, I thought, oh, yeah, it's not exactly in the top 5, is it?
No, look, there was moments in it that I had a bit of a giggle, but I'll be perfectly honest, it was almost a chore. Almost a chore doing my notes for it. Like it's a bit like when you got to do homework, right? And you know you got to do it, but yeah, it's very easy to procrastinate and get distracted. Like you're sort of paying attention, but then there's something shiny over there and squirrel, and you sort of...
Yeah. Magpie syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't complain because we're watching Beast Wars episodes. We really shouldn't be complaining, but I totally get where you're coming.
Exactly. It's not like I had a bad time. It's just one of those times where I was like... Come on, okay, get moving. Let's have something happen now. Like
I think it's worse because we're saying, like particularly me, season 1 is the best one, and it has all the overarching stories. And then you're just like you're watching this, and you're like, oh man, am I a hypocrite?
But that's part of our journey. So this is part of what we're taking the listeners on the ride with. We're rediscovering a lot of this stuff when we're looking at it a slightly different way than before. I've watched Beast Wars right through many times, but it's been a few years, and you get a little bit older, you look at things a little bit differently, and you start to go, that nostalgia is strong on this episode.
Yeah, you need that nostalgia drug to get through this one. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of Dinobot, a character who we utterly love, and okay, well, look, we can't sugarcoat it anymore. Let's just...
Look, I will say, to be fair, I did remember a lot of this episode, though, so it can't be, super terrible. But as you say, let's kick on with the episode.
You remember it like you remember Carnage in C minor. It's for the
I don't know
reason.
If it's that bad.
Oh yeah, but maybe I'm being unkind. That's pretty bad.
There's other episodes that are that bad.
Yeah, we'll get to that, don't you worry. Okay, so we start the episode with a very eerie-looking night, lightning storms, if I remember rightly, and we're zooming into the dark side, a very Dr. Frankenstein on the go here. This is the note that I've got. It's Frankenstein Megs telling Scorponok, God knows, Scorponok being a scientist, to be the scientist wanting more power, to increase this and to increase that, and they're effectively 3D printing a Dinobot.
I got a couple of notes with the opening shot. I said we open with a cool night sky with lightning and 2 Predacon nincompoops flying around.
Yeah, because what's a good thing to do during an electrical storm? Why don't you go out for a fly?
Pterosaur just asking for trouble. But as you say,
literally can't help you to.
we zoom into the dark side, lightning going around, and we get an almighty, just slathering smorgasbord of jargon straight off the bat from Megatron. And I've got a few of them here. We've got nucleate the thermal coils, and Scorponok's like nucleating, and then we've got activate mutator beams, activate, and then boost particle IEator, something like that. Like with the background noise, that was a bit hard.
They just said to David,
I think they just pulled something out of their ass, yeah. They're like, just make up words, Dave. It just starts.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's one bit while this is happening, Scorponok presses a button with his tail. it's kind of endearing. It just like kind of flicks over and presses the button.
Probably the most sensible thing he's ever done, really. But it's not saying how much. But yes, with all of this jargon and all of these button pressing and the lightning storms going off and, birds and insects on patrol during a lightning storm, a Dinobot is created and it emerges in dinosaur mode. Mm-hmm. And as we find out with a line that we get very helpfully narrated by Megatron, that just from a slither of Dinobot's DNA that they can recreate a clone of Dinobot. So, Chris, do you want to jump on that or should I? Transformers having DNA.
Well, look, I they've got organic modes. There is probably some DNA there.
All right, yes, there's fusing.
The issue I have is they've got a bunch of very big air quotes here, scientists on their team, whether they're mad or psychotic. The argument is still there.
Incompetent.
Yeah, definitely incompetent. But somehow Megatron, like the chess player that he is, the strategist that he is, I don't think is the science major, is the one that came up with the cloning device. And in his words, all I needed was a speck of DNA. Like, come on, Megatron's just holding out on everyone. He can clone Transformers at any step, only if he gets a flick of hair or a bit of a scale or something.
I mean, if we're really going to pick holes in that, that's effectively the entire Insecticons. And that's older technology by this point. So clone an entire army, Megs. You don't need to rely on Waspinator and Scorponok getting you absolutely nowhere.
And he says he can't transform, which obviously we'll find out in a second. If he could clone just an army of these dinosaurs, he wouldn't need them to transform. He could just storm the base with 1,000 raptors.
Well, we're a bit of foreboding, aren't we, for cloning raptors and an army of raptors coming much later into the Beast Wars series, aren't we? So it's a thread that gets pulled on again. But my God, is it stupid? Because it's just... They create a transformer that can't transform, but has all of Dinobot's personality, and we find out they are a clone to be kept in dinosaur mode.
Yeah, and Scorponok goes, Scorponok says, this is pretty cool, but what do we need him for? And Meg says, look, we're going to send him into the Maximal base, get rid of the real Dinobot, we'll knock down Sentinel, and we'll raid the base. Well, good luck. Megatron says that it's Pterosaur's job to get rid of the real Dinobot and send in the clone. I can't believe Megs would trust Pterosaur after all the bullshit that he's been doing this season.
Well, considering those two have tried to stage a coup together very unsuccessfully, it's just like, why did you... Mind you, if your choices are Pterosaur, and we find out it needs a flyer involved, it's choices of Pterosaur and Waspinator, it's kind of slim pickings, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we go on, and we know a clone's created, and it's a very obedient Dinobot who effectively is, as we say, Dr. Frankenstein's pet, and for who he creates. So we then go for a nice wide valley shot, that's more like it. And we see Dinobot on patrol, who has a nice yawn and a stretch and says, by the Inferno, I'm bored. And I thought, oh, that's good. He's bored. He's itching. He's restless. And he's just like, where's a Terracon? We've done that wrong again. Where's a Predacon when you need one?
Also, could he be in a ravine here? By any chance?
Oh, can we leave it? Can we just get through an episode without a bloody ravine?
I see some rock walls there. It's potential, and it's likely. Yeah, track record.
It's like this 3D printed landscape, and they've just rotated it around for the episode to get a different angle.
Can we have side B, please? Just swing it around.
For this episode, can we have side 4 lighting down 40%? But so we go there and we see Dinobot on fairly meaningless patrol. But then he gets blindsided once again by Pterosaur trying to get his attention.
Yeah, so he says, I'm really bored. Where's a Predacon when you need one? And Pterosaur flies in on cue. Now, Pterosaur is flying above Dinobot about 20 feet, if that, at least with the camera angle we've given. How did he not hear him? How did he not hear him scream, terrorize? Dinobot's meant to be this great warrior. Maybe boredom just got to him too much this time. I think we'll bored that he's just numbed out.
Yeah, I'll say to that, maybe Pterosaur transformed from further away. But yes, the fact that we're really hummed up on he's bored and he's just probably not as sharp as he is. But even then, even Dinobot has got to realise he's been led away to a trap because there's a few shots going on. Pterosaur turns into his beast mode. very slowly flaps away, I might add. And then Dinobot realizes he's actually faster in his raptor mode. It's taken 18 however many episodes, but we finally got there. And he
still runs
transforms.
funny, though.
He does kind of hop along a little bit, but he says an end to the boredom, goes into beast mode and legs it after him, and eventually gets led away to a cave.
Yeah, and he follows Pterosaur, and he transforms back to robot mode. He's got his blade out, he's got the tar rotor going, and he sort of says, come on, I'll come out for a nice little chat. And Pterosaur just goes, nope.
How about no?
Yeah. No. And he Pterosaur flies out of the cave and actually does his job correctly.
I know. I made a note of that as well. It actually works.
Like a successful plan involving Pterosaur. Who would have known?
But it has taken God knows how many attempts. But it's
14 episodes, funny enough.
It says more about Dinobot than it does about Pterosaur, doesn't it? Because he's like, you have been duped by the one time Pterosaur executed a plan well.
Yeah, that, as I say, the boredom must have just really set in today. He's really numb.
Day for Dinobot. But yeah, he gets shot. The rocks above him get shot to trap him in the cage. There is a landslide, and he is effectively trapped in this cave. I don't want to call it a ravine. I'm just going to ban ravine from this podcast from now on.
Yeah.
So that's just ravines.
Yeah, the chasms.
So then we go back to the Axelon, and we're on the command center, the bridge of the ship, and we see this very sly introduction of Dinobot in his beast mode, this clone Dinobot at this point, with the claws wrapped around the side of the walls and making his entrance to the scene, talking to Optimus Primal, basically saying that he's seen the Predacons ready to launch a full-scale assault and how Optimus must go and launch a counter-offensive immediately. Primal's very unsure of this, wants to know a little bit more, doesn't quite share Dinobot's panic and anxiety for the situation, asks for the coordinates, finds a location, doesn't see an awful lot there, asks Rattrap to double-check, and he's like, no, nothing there, mate. It's probably Dinobot. Something wrong with your sensors.
Yeah, and they're sort of like, what are you on about? And because Dinobot can't transform, and this clone version of Dinobot is very gung-ho, like he's very aggressive, and he's talking with his hands, and they're like flicking everywhere, and he's like conducting an orchestra while he's talking. It's quite a funny
very
little
erratic, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, as you say, they don't find anything on the scans. Primal says you and Rattrap should go out and investigate, just in case our scanners aren't working properly, which Dinobot's obviously like not wanting to do, but then follows the order and down the lift they go.
Yeah, I've got another note here. We do hear that Primal is again doing a little scan of it, and he says, oh, Rhinox and Cheetah are close. Then they can go and have a look, to which Dinobot kind of wafts that away and says, no, there's no time. But you hear, interesting, I made a note of it, Rhinox is out on patrol. This is Rhinox's first patrol. By my reckoning, he's always on the bridge.
Yeah, without Primal and the rest of the team, he seems to mostly be on the command center. But when they do leave, Primal does a little sort of squinted sus eyes, like he's a bit sus. But then it kind of stops. Like he's like sus for a second, and then it just goes back to normal. It's not like it's a big point of him thinking, oh, something's up with Dinobot.
But yeah, Rattrap and Dinobot go off on patrol together, to which Rattrap's fairly accommodating to this, isn't he? He's saying, oh, yeah, you come in. Yeah. He's not trying to get out of missions anymore, fearless leader and all of that. So we get to a random lava pit. So we're still at chasms and ravines, but this one's filled with lava rather than a waterfall. And we see a Rattrap in his rat mode. We see Dinobot in his dino mode. And of course, a very conveniently placed log that was around. Rattrap then tries to say, well, this is the place, but we don't see anything here, and then transforms into his robot mode,
so
expecting trouble.
Before we go on there was a note there where Rattrap sort of says, well, where are they? And Dinobot says, oh, they're over that hill over there. Rattrap says, oh, we better transform and go after them. So he transforms. He goes, well, are you going to transform? And then the clone uncharacteristically says, oh, we can find a better position in beast mode. We can have a look better. And Rattrap just sort of goes, transforms back into the rat, and off they go up to the lava ravine.
I mean, at what point are they realizing this is a very uncharacteristic Dinobot? If he's not ready for fighting, he's happy to stay in his beast mode. But I did like the Rat Trap quip to when he was trying to get him to transform. He sort of coughs a bit and goes, "Settle into the metal."
There's some nice Rat Trap quips through this one. But yeah, as you say, they get to a lava river, which is in a ravine, and the clone tells Rat Trap to cross first. And then as Rat Trap gets on the log, he starts pushing it with his little raptor foot.
I mean, I know we know, okay, and it's a fourth wall, but at what point would your frenemy say, "Why don't you go first?" And you go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Rat Trap would have been like, "Nah, Chopper Face, you get on the log," you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's a little too accommodating there. I love after the log drops, it lodges itself in this chasm or ravine or whatever.
What you're going to say.
Rat Trap goes, "I knew I smelt a rat, and it wasn't even me."
It wasn't even me.
Great line, great delivery by
line.
Scott McNeil.
I love the kind of like the in jokes. It just keeps the scenes like that a bit more bearable.
Yeah.
But he falls down, the log catches fire, and now he's really down on a lava pit, just surfing on a rock, which you'd think it is a rock he's surfing on.
It is a rock.
Would have been hotter than the sun.
Why isn't it not just melting the skin straight? Oh no, that's a bit rough, but melting the skin straight off his feet, and his fur should be catching fire.
But it's not the first time we've seen Rat Trap surf, so we'll give him that, I guess.
Yeah. So following this, the real Dinobot breaks out of the cave, and he's not happy. But that's all we see, and it flicks back over to the Axelon.
It's a quick shot, isn't it? You just kind of know he's out and very slowly making his way back to base because he realizes he's been trapped.
So back at the Axelon, Rhinox via the comms advises that they found nothing, and Primal advises that Rat Trap and the clone, which he thinks is Dinobot, should be there by now. And suddenly the clone appears acting like he's been beaten in battle and says, "Oh, we were ambushed." And Primal says, "Well, where's Rat Trap?" And he goes, "Oh, he's stuck there. You're going to have to go and fly out and get him as soon as you can." And again, I can understand why people don't like this episode. There's a lot of weird like actions going on here. Primal just goes, "Oh, yep," just wanders out,
isn't he? Yeah.
Jumps in the lift, and as he's going down the lift, he holds his hand out for some reason. It does nothing. He's just got his arm up. Like the animators were bored. I don't know.
Maybe they just left that in there.
But yeah, Primal doesn't question it. He doesn't say like.
Well, he does say, "I'll get you in." Does he say CR chamber or does he just say R chamber?
He does. He
Did
goes.
I have that right?
He does say, "I'll get into the CR chamber first," and the clone says, No, I'll be fine. I'll make it. You just go. You got to there's no time." But yeah, Primal, he doesn't question anything. He just, see ya.
Well, even at the end, you hear a very exasperated Dinobot goes, "Oh, of course, good luck." And I'm like, when have you ever wished good luck? So
he's more likely to say, "Hope your prime jets don't blow up on you."
It would be like, I hope we have a good funeral for Rat Trap. It would be more accommodating, wouldn't it? But
just a little too easy on that exit.
I think so. Primal then jets off, and the base is purely under Dinobot's control. We
do get the automatic Sentinel activation though, so they're carrying that on.
We're going to say keeping with Sentinel, which is probably one of the good story threads of this episode, because as we see, otherwise it'd be way too easy. But all of the Maximals are out on patrol, save Clone Dinobot, and Sentinel is now armored. The clone realizes he's got to shut down Sentinel to let Megatron in, tries it a couple of times and realizes that while Sentinel knows it is Dinobot, it cannot detect a maximal energy signature and asks for a password to be entered, to which the clone says to us, I suppose, because who else is he talking to? Megatron said there would be no code, and then he just tries something and gets a couple of shocks on his nose for a bit of comical effect, which is, I like that from Sentinel, just not taking bullshit for a day. Like, you get a one-time password attempt and I'll shock you.
There's no forgot password, enter email. It's just bang, zap on the nose.
And you click on the 5 umbrellas.
Bad boy.
No. Yeah.
It's just like a water gun squirting the dog, you know.
Yeah, I know, isn't it?
So after this, we flick over to Primal. He meets Cheetor at the lava river, and Cheetor says, "I picked up Rat Trap scent. Hopefully he hasn't, died. Primal sort of says, well, I hope not.
He says he's a pain in the neck, but I hate to lose him. And it was said so coldly as well.
Now, as you said before, rat trap surfing once again, but he's not enjoying it too much this time. And he drops down a couple of sort of mini lava falls.
Very convenient steps, isn't it?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he comes up to a big fall and he's like, oh, crap. So he transforms and he plays like, some
Crash
sort of...
Bandicoot or something.
Yeah. You know what's so funny about that? I thought about writing that note and I was like, I wonder if anyone's going to get that.
I thought
you've
about
got
it as well.
So very good.
I thought Crash Bandicoot, and I thought, what else could it be?
What sort of game would it be like that? But yeah, very Crash Bandicoot-esque. He bounces rock, and he catches an overhang and pulls himself up. And he says, I was almost deep-fried rat.
Deep-fried rat.
Now, we get to see his forearm bombs again. So he opens the panel on the forearm, pulls out a little bomb, very consistent, like that. Mm-hmm. And then he uses it to Wile E. Coyote himself, airborne on a large rock.
All right, let me jump on this one. Now, where at any point is explosives used as propulsion rather than blowing up the rock? I don't know. You don't sit on a bomb underneath a table and then hope that the table is going to stay structurally in sound and launch you in the air.
It's Roadrunner and Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, somehow his bomb blows up and launches this boulder flying. And
can you imagine the script reading for that? Like, how are we going to get Rat Trap out of this ravine now? Because it's always a ravine. Like, well, he's a demolition expert. Why doesn't he use bombs? That's a good idea.
Primal and Cheetor do hear the explosion and then find Rat Trap very conveniently straight away, who tells them of Dinobot's deception.
And then we quickly work out that Primal, very somberly says, well, I left Dinobot at the base.
And now we get the best line from
the best line of the entire episode, to which he says very sarcastically, well, isn't that just prime? I'm just like,
the sarcasm is paramount. Like
I know, dripping with it, isn't it? Mind you, wasn't it up earlier episode with Dark Designs with Rhinox, where you had Primal doing Megatron's yes a little bit?
Yeah,
just like a little bit of horror. Very good. So then we see real Dinobot, this time in dino form, approaching the Axalong. He tells Sentinel to stand down because he's got the voice activation and a maximal energy signature to do so. Now, let's just quickly pick on that, Chris. How can you have the DNA of Dinobot without having a maximal energy signature?
And
science me that, boy.
and if yeah, I agree, but also if Sentinel thinks that Dinobot's inside, whether he has a signature or not, wouldn't there be a conflict when another Dinobot asks for the deactivation?
Error 404.
Yeah. Command conflict.
Not responding.
Blue screen of death. Maybe that's why it shut down.
Yeah, that's true.
It just shit itself. It's just like...
This is 90s computers. They went wrong a lot.
But yeah, the clone inside is a little thicker than the normal Dinobot. And he thinks, oh, I've done it. And then...
By doing absolutely nothing and getting shocked on the nose, he thinks he sorted it.
It's definitely a fucking Tuesday. Because somehow he can get perfect comms to Megatron from inside the maximal base. How?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we haven't had Fritz for a little while, to be fair, but I got Sentinel's shield down, communicated to Megatron, and Megatron's like, yes, I'll just, because he's practically outside the base himself, so he would have seen real Dinobot get there. Yeah, so he's just waiting his turn, and he, I guess, starts to make his approach. But by which time, clone Dinobot, thinks he's done a good job. Makes his way to the corridor, and then we get the nice little mirror face-off.
This is the best scene in the episode, and it is I think the part that most people have nostalgia of.
Absolutely.
And this is the part that people remember strongest. And it's that very classic, think they're in a mirror, they're just matching head movements, hand movements.
Very Disney, isn't it?
Till one of them just messes up and realizes, and then what happens is the clone snaps at the real Dinobot, to which he decides, okay, I'm going to transform now.
When he says to him, what in the inferno are you? He's like, I'm you, what you could have been had you not have betrayed Megatron. And I thought, that was good. It was like a little bit of a shattered glass almost, but gets a whack in the face, clone Dinobot to real Dinobot, and then, as you say, Dinobot transforms. He's like, come on then, let's juice it out.
Yeah, to which the clone realizes he's done fucked up pretty quick.
And he just kind of says, like, I can't. And he's really sad about it.
Yeah, so I can't.
And then, of course, the Dinobot twigs it. At this point, through everything, through being duped by Pterosaur and everything that's been going on, he's worked out that he can't transform, but he realizes it's a clone. And I'm like, oh, now you've worked out what the entire plot is. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Now, look, Dinobot has his honor, so he wants to fight in robot mode. The clone can't. So Dinobot transforms back into beast mode and then get kicked straight into the front of the service lift. Straight through the glass. Like I get there's honor in it, but clearly this is not an honorable robot. It's a clone. Just kill him.
I know, right? He's just
finish him right there and then.
But to be honest, what now leads into this fight scene is a little bit. I mean, how do you even choreograph two raptors fighting?
Somehow using controls and moving chairs and periscopes and all sorts of stuff.
I know we've got furniture.
And since when is there a fucking periscope in the?
I know, we've never seen a periscope. Why would they need it? It's not a submarine. But anyway, we'll go on because why not? So yeah, there's fighting going on, getting kicked and getting tail whacked. Then real Dinobot clicks a button that knocks clone Dinobot onto the desk that he then sits in a chair and then brings him back towards him at a rate of knots to then get a kick in the face.
And it's a little, on purpose, it's a little bit confusing who bests who here, and it implies that the clone gets the victory by dropping the periscope on the real Dinobot.
The periscope comes down, knocks his head, and he's down on the floor, and he's like, "I'm finished this fight. I'm going to radio in for Megatron." And then real Dinobot opens his eye, what we believe is real Dinobot, to kind of have a little bit of playing dumb, but. You've got this, as you say at the start of the fight, he says, I don't share your silly sense of honor. And it was, that was kind of paramount, the fact that he dropped a periscope on his head.
Yeah. So we get Dinobot outside and he meets Megatron as he arrives to let him in. And the clone sucks up a bit here, or what we believe is the clone.
Well, it's just a Dinobot at this point, yes.
Yeah.
He says, the base is yours, Megatron. And he's like, oh, you are such an enchanting creature. I may clone the rest of my troops. And I was like, yeah, that might have been an idea when it was 5 against 5, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's a real Dinobot, of course. So he reactivates the shields just as Megatron gets to him and poof, and flies him by.
He gets sent launching. I mean, that's pretty good shields to launch a Tyrannosaurus, isn't it?
Must be a big sort of energy load or something.
And he's like, you're just as treacherous as the real Dinobot. It's a correction. I am the real Dinobot. And then transforms, maximizes, and we get quite a decent fight here.
Well, they essentially have a Kamehameha battle. Megatron fires off his laser. Dinobot fires off his eye lasers, and the beam battle's going on. And what separates
Which Dinobot wins?
Yeah, well, what separates it is a missile from Primal inbound back to the base.
Yeah, and it's all for Maximals because, forget Black Arachnia in this episode and forget Tigatron. They're just not here. Yeah. But no Tarantulas for that matter either. But yeah, we just get 4 Maximals turning up. Rhinox with 2 guns, not the
great
first
shot.
time we see two guns?
No, we've seen them a couple of times now, but great shot of the dual Gatling guns just great, fantastic.
Yeah. And Megatron is quickly sent into retreat and gets a hit in his chest for his troubles. And basically that's the episode done. We go into the bridge of the Axalong. We kind of work out what's gone on and how Rat Trap's still a little bit sore from it all.
Yeah, we get the Rat Trap sort of questions Dinobot saying, well, where's the clone if he exists type thing? And Dinobot goes, well, I'm afraid he's gone for good. And it's a shame, as you're such a handsome creature and quite tasty. And then he flicks a chunk of meat out that hits Primal in the face. And then lets out a big belch. The Maximals are kind of relieved in disgust.
Well, there's 2 things I'm going to pick up here. You get this wide shot whilst Primal's got a bit of dino meat on his
sliding
face.
Off his cheek.
There's this wide shot of the 4 of them. Go and watch this. Cheetor gives a thumbs up. Yay to cannibalism. It's just, what are you doing, mate? And then you get the nice line at the end with a very unimpressed Primal just saying, you're disgusting.
Yeah, roll credits.
Oh, I don't know what to do with that, Chris.
It's funny, but again, it was better with nostalgia.
I can't polish this turd off this scale. I'm sorry, I can't.
I think if that mirror scene was not in this episode,
It's skippable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very skippable. It doesn't help.
I'm sorry. We say there's no filler episodes. We're wrong.
Yeah, apparently we're wrong.
Yeah, we're issuing a public apology to our listeners. This is a fucking filler episode. Yeah, no refunds for the money that you don't pay for our entertainment.
Yeah, pay some money to us, goddammit. No, it's awful, isn't it? It's there's some nice lines. I like Rat Trap saying, "Isn't that just Prime?" I'll
Rat
give
Trap stuff is funny. Mirror stuff is good.
I'll give this kind of like, why is Megatron making a clone of all places? If I'm really going to make something out of nothing here, does he miss Dinobot? Does he have a bit of a loss affection for him and he wants him back in the fold? Because he could have cloned anyone. He could have cloned. We tried this with Rhinox in the last episode. That didn't work. So why was this going to be any better?
Clone yourself. Clone some powerful things. Clone some Waspinados. At least they're loyal.
Oh God! But then it'd just be an army of kamikaze missions. It's silly. No, it's
fire them. Fire a bunch of Waspinados into the side of the axle until the shields go down.
That's a thought. Actually, literal cannon fodder. No, it's. I think. Look. Any Dinobot is good Dinobot. We know we love the character. That goes without saying. But Dinobot versus Dinobot, I don't know. Did it add anything? I think you look back at the previous episodes of Primal going ape, pardon the pun. I'll try and get in the puns this week, seeing as you're taking a week off. And we'll have Rhinox going full shattered glass. Fine. They're good what ifs, if you like.
Yeah.
This isn't a what if. This is just squared.
Yeah, look, everyone loves Dinobot. We love Dinobot. The issue is, I think, the nostalgia outside of the season 2 peak stuff is very much nostalgia. I think when you go back and watch it, there is some dumb shit that's back there, Like it doesn't weaken the love of Dinobot, but sometimes you're just like, oh, this is
because you kind of felt you got past that in the earlier episodes, like Equal Measures, like growing pains, fleshing out characters. I got it. Like Equal Measures did not help the story over arc at all, but
there was some good stuff from Dinobot and Probe and Victory and even Guerrilla Warfare. Yeah. But like it's like taking it down a peg again. Like this, just a filler.
Going on a Probe, that's a good one because we see or even Victory, the realization that Dinobot isn't so keen to go back to Cybertron because there's all this kind of buzz about let's get everyone home, and at no point up until those episodes did we think, oh yeah, Dinobot actually doesn't want to go home. And so that gave a nice little, it wasn't much, but it was something. This time you've got a whole episode to do something with. And
we got a bunch of development where he was a minor point in the episodes and now he's a major point and nothing.
I know.
You've achieved nothing.
To have a spotlight episode in terms of time on screen and have nothing to show for it come the end of it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It is. So that is it. Really, there's not much else you can say. You can't sugarcoat it anything more than that. Okay, that is our roundup review of Double Dinobot. Not the best episode, possibly not the worst, but hey, it's slim pickings down there. But we have got a question to go through today that was sent to us by John Cumler on Facebook. He's asked if we could read this out following our Toycast episode. So we'll ask this out, and Chris, I'll put it to you first.
Yeah, so we've got his question, but it's multiple questions. So we're just going to do his today.
So we'll start off with his first one then. Any toys you'd like to see remade?
Yeah, lots.
Why is it Orkanok?
Oh, God, no. Dollar Tree nonsense.
Oh, the 99 cents tree.
No. The answer is yes, and it is not that. Officially, we want to see lots of things. We spoke about a lot of these last episode when we covered the 1997 toy line. Magnaboss is a huge one for us. If we're talking just mainline toys, Polar Claw needs to come out. They want to do it. We want to see it. We want to see Magnaboss in either like a Commander or a HasLab or whatever. But in terms of other mainline toys, I'd love to see a Rampage and a Depth Charge done in modern toys. They don't have to have chrome. They can just have metallic paint. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think we are going to get them from Robot Toys in the third-party Masterpiece size in one form or another. I mean, we won't count chickens, but that's where it's headed. I mean, if we're just talking re-release, I wouldn't mind if they could redo because I don't think when the reissue of the Beast Wars toys came out recently, they went down the Transmetal side with Rampage and Depth Charge. I nearly picked up a Depth Charge the other day. Funny enough, that was on sale. It was just a bit yellowing on the grey plastic that kind of put me off a little bit, and it was unboxed and all the rest of it. It's not to say it's not a great figure and the chrome's held up and all the rest of it, but if it was one that could be remade, kind of remade with still being the old design, the old toy, but just not with yellow plastic, I'd be happy to buy that again. I wouldn't mind, because I never actually owned a Depth Charge.
Yeah, the issue
is one I never got.
The issue is that Hasbro have very much said we can't do vac metal for mass release. So obviously we see it on the HasLab stuff and some special things, but on mainline toys, so they won't do reissues because they're reissues. They wouldn't be the same because they wouldn't have the vac metal. Remakes in the Legacy line or the Generations line or whatever you want to call it, that is a potential. And I'm sure they will do more Beast characters. You know, we've got Quick Strike coming out soon, which is very similar to the original toy, just like Silverbolt was, just like a bunch of the others. They're just these better versions. In fact, I'd just done a short review piece for Dr. Lockdown for a video he's working on of Beast Wars Inferno from the Legacy line. And I very much discussed it is an upgraded version of the original toy. It's got similar size, similar proportions, but it's just taking those design cues and making them better. So to answer that first part of that question, yeah, there's a lot of toys I'd like to see both reissued and remade. So the list would be long. But yeah, a lot of those Transmetal
would be at the top of the list for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Magnaboss and Polar Claw are up there. And yeah, Rampage, Depth Charge, even a new Optimal Optimus that like better than the one we got in Power of the Primes.
Oh, yeah, massively. Goes on again for the next question. Any toys you would like to see remade into a bigger scale, going into the likes of Commander class size, perhaps? Even gives a recommendation there of Talker, which would be a big one for Commander class, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if it's scaled like it is in the Gathering, it'd be massive.
Yeah.
It'd be a huge thing. Pterosaur in a bigger size, like if we're talking the original toys.
Yeah, you want. Well, that's where the Metagate one kind of did that, didn't it? It turned it into a Masterpiece scale. But you think of, it's a shame really with Pterosaur and Rat Trap. Whilst they were good toys of their own, they were very limited by the scale they were in. The basic class kind of didn't give them that full-fledged functionality. And we did get a reissue for Pterosaur under Kingdom, Golden Disc Pack, which was nice enough.
Not too bad, yeah.
But still kind of has that same problem of what do you do with the wings?
Yeah, the issue I guess we have here is they kind of have done this with some figures, like Rhinox got a new toy in a Voyager scale. The Masterpiece toys are obviously the clear standouts of things being remade in proper scales. Remade in a bigger scale, Magnaboss in a Commander class.
Well, to be honest, that's the only thing you can do, because that combiner doesn't stand particularly tall. But do you know what the tricky part?
It's like the same size as the Optimus Primal from '96.
Oh, yeah, massive. Yeah. But the trouble is the classes, and we've said this before, haven't we? The classes were introduced with Beast Wars and still existing today, more or less. Mecha class has kind of become Commander class over time, but Deluxes, Voyagers, and Leaders kind of originated from then. The ranges have adapted and changed over time, but in terms of what height they are, but those classes still remain. So getting remade, I don't know. I'd like to see characters like Talker massively and huge, and Baboon being, I'll be happy for just for that to be reissued. It's still a good toy, but if that came out, Voyager or Leader, just to get a bit of size out of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because they are kind of a comparative size originally, aren't they?
He does mention any Titan class toys, and he says Axelon and Darkseid. I'd love to see a bit like they did with the Ark and Nemesis. Like Nemesis is a great example. They took a ship that does not transform, never has, and made an original character out of it, which is fantastic. They could do this with the Axelon.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I'm pre-ordering day one Axelon and Darkseid. I don't need them in robot mode. Yes, you could have it, but I'd have them as playset.
They could be non-transforming, yeah. They'd be fine.
Yeah, massively. And Axelon is actually a decent looking ship. So is the Darkseid, truth be told, although we see most of it crashed on its nose. Does also come out with this nice little nugget of Chila from IDW. That's a deep cut. Yeah. If you're going to get that released in Hasbro mainline, you're doing very well, I'm afraid. Would it come out? It's very rare. You'll get the Axelon and Darkseid before you get that.
And even that's a stretch. Like it's unlikely to. We'll get a lot more characters before we start getting ships and obscure comic characters.
I'm not going to rule out Axelon and Darkseid, even though I kind of feel Hasbro maybe is taking a steer away from Beast Wars because of how the toys performed, or certainly the reissue of old toys. Titan choices are getting thin now. There's not that many out there, and there's only so many times you can re-release Metroplex. So throwing out Titan ships from Beast Wars, it may only be 2, but I can give them 2 years out of it. I could see it now.
Well, not to go too far off the beaten path here, but as you say, the Titan choices have changed, and they've recently changed that size class slightly, bringing it down in scale and adding in more accessories and stuff like that to fit in other characters. So I could see Beast Wars Titan class figures, like we said, in the Combiners or an Optimal Optimus or something like that. Yeah, look, as you say, I don't think they're twice bitten, or once bitten, twice shy in this case. I think, yes, the reissues didn't do as well as they should have, and they could have, but the designers clearly like Beast Wars, and they are releasing figures every now and then, just not as much as we were getting in Kingdom and early Legacy.
Oh, of course, yeah. That was very much a Beast Wars-centric side of it, but we're getting Quick Strike, so it hasn't been dropped.
We've got Quick Strike coming. We're getting Big Convoy. We're getting Razor Claw, which is the purple and black repaint of...
Hashtag not my Razor Claw.
Yeah, Tiger Hawk. So there are there are figures coming out fairly regularly, but yeah, look, the obscure stuff is going to be a bit of a stretch getting that out into the market.
I mean, it's a shame when you consider that Takara is really ramping through the Masterpiece now. You know, you think of how many are left from the show, and we've got Robot Toys in the third party picking up stragglers, a bit like Tarantulas, Waspinator and MP scale, for what we're believing is to be Transart's designs being reused. We're gonna have a cast out there in one form or another. Then you start looking at, well, what's left? And then people go, well, the only other prop is the ship. And then you start going into the VOC.
Yeah, and look, what I'm about to say, I understand will annoy some people because it's not in everyone's price range and budget. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not disclosing details right now, but I'm in that boat a little bit myself at the moment where I have to be picky about what I'm buying. But I would prefer not to see, like, if the choice was only get new figures in the Masterpiece line and nothing else anywhere else, that was the choice, I'd be fine with it. Because, as we've said before, the Beast Wars Masterpiece figures are the best Beast Wars figures that are released ever.
Agreed.
And they're probably some of the best overall Masterpiece figures. And the line works together. There's no design changes. They've stuck to the design choice, and their figures have been getting better and better and better. We've got Rat Trap coming out soon, which will be very interesting to see. And I would be very surprised if we didn't get another Beast Wars announcement in MPG. So I love picking up the bit more affordable Generations mainline Beast Wars stuff, and I will continue to pick them up. In fact, if I had to cut out G1 stuff and only pick up Beast Wars because of whatever reason, I would. But for me, I would rather save up my money and just buy MP Beast Wars if that was the only thing I could buy.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you on that because it's just doesn't miss, really. The biggest miss has been Black Arachnia's alt mode in terms of Takara, and that's it. You know,
and yet the robot mode's fantastic. You know,
oh yeah, massively.
Like, there's not. I'm looking at my shelf now, and both the only thing that looks out of place on my Beast Wars cabinet. You probably couldn't hear me properly because I'm looking away. But the only thing that I think that's out of place in my Beast Wars cabinet, and I've got ignoring repaints, every release from both Transart and Takara is the Transart Optimal Optimus because the scale is a little bit funny. The figure is great.
It's the same in that.
But the scale is funny. But everything else there is Jobby the Hong's catchphrase thing is Roger Rabbit effect. It is straight off the screen. Particularly the Transmetal stuff. And this, like, some of the Takara releases in beast mode obviously suffer because they're not magicians. Like, they can't make miracles work.
There's only so much I can do.
But boy, they're pretty damn close. Like Rhinox is a perfect example. That Rhino mode is absolutely fantastic. Don't look up his backside. But the robot mode, getting that to work.
Thumb for rhinos, really.
That's right. Stay tuned. But
I know.
The getting that well-scaled robot mode that has the hip skirts and the chest unfolding and everything to work, just mind-blowing. And it's fun and easy to transform. Like, you don't even need, like, if you're decent with transforming, not Ian, because he still hasn't finished MP36.
No, hold on. Do not throw me under that bus. I did that transformation without the instructions.
Well, this is my point, though. Jokes aside, plenty of people.
Even I can do it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
But jokes aside, in all seriousness, a lot of, especially MP and third-party collectors that are used to complex transformations, have been able to take that Rhinox, which you would think would be very difficult, and work it out for the most part. Like, most people are getting 90% there, and they just have a glance. And
it's a very friendly transformation.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rat Trap will be the same.
I hope so, for the size of it. You can kind of work out where stuff is going to go. And if you've, even, it sounds silly, but doing a quick comparison from the MPG figure for the original toy, you kind of know, or it was a one-step changer by pulling its tail, but you know where everything folds away to.
Well, you can only
you kind of can
skin the rat so many ways, can't you?
Deep fried rat.
Yeah. But look, John, thank you very much for the question. I know we sort of went all over the place there, but we're talking Beast Wars, so it's all good fun.
Yeah, and do just send in questions whenever you want to. We'll try our best to get them into the episodes. And if you feel that you've sent in the question and we've missed it, reach out to us again. We'll get them in wherever we can. It's good fun to just hear from you and just to have another point to discuss around Beast Wars.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's our wrap up on episode 18 of our podcast for episode 14, Double Dinobot. Not the best, but hey, we have to get through them. There's growing pains, and then there's this. But thank you very much for coming with us on this journey, painful journey today, but sticking with us and keeping those listener views going. So you can find us, and we'll tell you where, on all of the social medias out there, such as Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads. Where else are we? Instagram. Haven't missed off anything. We're all on there as That's Just Prime, or various forms of. You will find us there. And in terms of our podcast, you will find us in most podcast derivative places such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podbean. We're also uploading onto YouTube and doing a premiere on that. So when it goes live, you can watch along with us and put some notes in the comments and just have a chat with us if we're able to make it along. Chris, where can most people find you?
Yeah, look, I'll just touch on the podcast. If it's easier for you, we do have a link tree, which is just linktr.ee/That's Just Prime Pod, and everything is under that, including our personal one. So if you're really stuck, just go to our link tree. It's on the Twitter and Blue Sky, which are probably the easiest to find us. Personally, you can find me on YouTube, Carnage Creations. We say it every week, but for the new listeners, I am there. That is my primary place, getting out toy reviews and bits and pieces. I want to do some live streaming on there, so if I do, come along and have a chat. Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. Mainly, I know Twitter is a bit contentious, but unfortunately it's where you get the most interaction and followers. So I am reasonably active on Twitter and Instagram, so follow me over there. And Ian, yours as usual.
Yes, you'll find me as ArrowFyre with a Y on mostly YouTube, is where I do most of my stuff. Gotta stop laughing at that. And you will find me on most social sites as well with ArrowFyre or Arrow_Fire, because someone's taken ArrowFyre. How dare they? I'm primarily on Facebook. I think that's the best place to get hold of me. But in terms of the podcast, as well as anywhere else, Chris and I monitor the socials. If you drop a message on one of the social platforms, one of us will respond to you.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, we're always happy for feedback. We want more questions, so please send them in wherever you feel like it. We'll find them and log them, and we'll get them into an episode. We've got some stuff coming up, getting some things organised, so keep listening. And our next episode will be episode 15 of the show, and which will be fun.
Yeah, and we do keep saying there's more stuff coming up and there's stuff in the pipeline. We keep teasing that, but trust me, there is stuff. We're not just saying that to keep you tense and strung along, as it were. No, we have got some nice things planned, but we want to keep it a surprise as well.
Yeah, and look, the truth is, the organising times is the biggest hurdle for us for the most part, because I'm in Australia, Ian is in the UK. A lot of the guests that we want to have on are in the States, so it is very difficult to make all three of those times work. So just be patient with us, but there will be some stuff coming, we promise you.
If only we had transwarp technology, Chris.
Yeah, or I was rich and I could just fly to the UK once a week.
Yeah, that's it. You come to me. All right. Thanks very much for joining us. As always, we will see you on the next one.
See you later.
Well, that's just prime.